Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you some things that you're going to want to implement into your Windows 8 installation. Now, we're going to be using strictly desktop in the case that I'm showing you here, but there are things you're going to want to do within the Windows 8 side to get everything set up properly. What we're going to do, we're going to go into the Start menu here. And then what we want to do is install the built-in virus protection system. So you do not need to go out and buy any virus protection anymore. We have Windows Defender. Now, Windows Defender has been upgraded greatly since when it first came out. This is now a full-fledged virus protection system. Okay, so I've already set this up on my other account, but it's very simple to set up. You go into settings and you want to turn on real-time protection. Okay, so just as it says, it will protect you from viruses as they try and come in. Okay, and then updates are done automatically by Windows Update. So once you have activated this and you're going to use it, you don't have to do anything with it anymore. You can see any history here. Okay, so you can look at any quarantined items, allowed items, and detected items. However, you'll notice one thing. It doesn't have a way to schedule a scan. And the way you need to do this is to go and do it in the Windows Task Manager. Okay, so once you've activated this, you're fully protected. And the idea is that it's going to protect you on the as files come in. But it's still a good idea to set up a scan that runs every day or however often you want to run it. Okay, so let's go and set that up. I created a shortcut to my control panel right here, so we'll go there. And then we're going to go to System and Security. And then we're going to go down to Administrative Tools. And then we're going to go down to Task Scheduler. So double click on that. Okay, now what you want to do is click right here where it says Task Scheduler Library. And then you want to go and click on the little tab beside Microsoft and then Windows. Okay, now let's just spread this way a bit so we can see. Okay, now what you want to do is roll down until you see Windows Defender. Okay, right click or just click on that. Okay, so let's move this back a little bit here. So what we have here now is Windows Defender scheduled scan. So all we have to do is now is set up a trigger. So click on trigger, and then let's go down here. And then we're going to go, let's widen this out a little bit here. Okay, so what we want to do is we're going to go to Properties. It brings us up the Edit window here. And then we want to go to Triggers and click New. And this is just when we want to write on it. Okay, so you can set this up how you want. You can run it daily, weekly, monthly. I suggest that you do it daily. And then you give it a time here. So start on this date and then give it a time. And that's all you got to do and run every however many days. So if you want to run it 2 days, you could do 2. Click OK, and that schedules the scan. And every day it will run it at the time that you put in here. Okay, so it's a really good idea to make sure that you set this up. Now, if you want to use a third-party scan tool, you're of course welcome to do that, but I found that Windows Defender works really well, and it comes free with Windows 8. Okay, next I want to talk about desktop programs or apps versus the Windows 8 apps. And here's for instance, Skype. There's a built-in version of Skype for Windows 8, and it's quite nice. However, it is lacking a few things here. Let me just get through here. We'll do the initial setup here. Okay, so we'll just go through and I'm going to set up a new Skype account here. I'm just going to use the address I have for this one. Okay, so we'll join Skype. Then just use your email address you set up for your Microsoft account. Okay, so it picks that up all by itself. Okay, so we have nothing in here. But what I wanted to show you, let's go over the settings. Remember, when you're in an app, you can go to settings and let's go to options. Okay, now this is all fine. You can use your default device and so on. But what it's missing is that there's no way to start it automatically when you start your computer. Okay, so that can be quite important to some people that it starts right up. And the only way to do that, and you can do it, but it's very convoluted. You got to create a shortcut and put in a command. And then you got to drag the shortcut to your startup and so on. And I find that this one, in my opinion, is not near as intuitive as a desktop app. Okay, so what you can do is just go to your browser, and then we're just going to do Skype desktop. Okay, Skype for Windows desktop. Okay, and you see here Skype for Windows 8. That's the one we just saw. But what we want is the desktop version, so Windows desktop. Okay, so we're going to get Skype for Windows desktop, and that's the one that you will have been used to, and it'll give you the interface for the desktop app as normal. So let's go in here. Let's go to Skype for desktop. Okay, and it'll bring up what we're used to here. And then with this one, of course, you can schedule it to start with Windows. Okay, so here we are in Skype. I've put it into compact view. So tools, options, and then you have the regular options here. So you can start Skype when I start Windows. Okay, so that's what a lot of this was about, was just being able to do that easily, and also the more familiar interface, and I find it much more intuitive. Okay, so that's Skype. Now, another example I want to talk about is file sync, and I'm talking about file sync using something called Sugar. If you want to be able to sync any file you want without having to move it into a directory like you have to with Google Drive or Dropbox, SugarSync is a good alternative because it lets you just choose a file and sync it without having to move it anywhere. So I use that quite a bit. And again, with the desktop app or with the Metro app, when you go into the, the when you go into the program for Windows 8, it doesn't have some of the options. And one of those is the option to sync up your files. Okay, so here's the Sugar Sync. They've renamed it Lenovo Cloud Storage in here, but it's by Sugar Sync. So when I bring this up and I go into options, there is nowhere for me to set up what I want. Okay, so you have to log in here and so on. But I'm not going to bother with that. But when you go in here, you can see your files, but there's no way to actually sync them. So you have to install the desktop app to do that. So that's another example of places you may want to be using a desktop app instead of the app from the store. Okay, speaking of which, let's just go there. Okay, so I restarted this by category so I could find that. So at any time you can change this. So I'm going to go back to most used. Okay, so let's go to the store. Okay, and this is where you can get Windows 8 apps. So If you find a Windows 8 app that you like and you want to add it to your desktop, you just do the same thing I showed you before. You find the app that you've installed for Windows 8, whichever one it is, and then you just right click on it. And if it has an option here to pin to the taskbar or to open the file location, you can pin it. Okay, so some of them you can't, like this one won't let you, but some of them you would be able to. Okay, camera doesn't let you. So some of the built-in apps won't let you do that. Okay, so like I showed you before, so if you find some store apps that you like and you want them pinned to your desktop, you can do it that way. Okay, so what we've done now is we have created a full desktop environment. We're booting to the desktop and we have all our control from here, giving you full multitasking capabilities, which you don't have in the Windows 8 Metro side. You can only run uh, 2 or 4 at a time, depending on the size of your monitor, and you just do a snap. Like you can snap to the if I go here and I right click, you can insert left and insert right. So I could, if I insert right, okay, so I can run 2 different things on my computer at once using Metro. However, when I'm using my desktop, I'm unlimited like I have been with Windows all along. Okay, so as you see, bar comes up, you can resize them here. If you want to get rid of it, just swipe it right off the page and it goes back to where we were here. Okay, so that's it. That's how you can get yourself going and productive using the Windows 8 desktop.